Orlando West residents in Soweto say they're living in fear following a wave of violent house robberies. And during the past 3 weeks, a group of men driving a Renault Clio has broken into homes, stolen laptops and cell phones. In the latest incident, a teenager was allegedly raped. We look at rampant incidents of violent house robberies within the country. And for this, we have roped in Mr. Christopher Thornhill, who's the CEO of private security company, the Phangela Group. Mr. Thornhill, sir, it's a pleasure. Welcome. So without diminishing our focus on incidents of violent crimes, especially house armed robberies, it's become quite a nationwide wave. In KwaZulu-Natal, in the Eastern Cape, have been particularly targeted within villages and even townships. What do you attribute these escalating criminal activities within the country to, sir?
Hi, thanks, Alicia. I contributed towards the economic state of the country. I think people are feeling more and more vulnerable. They're not getting the opportunity to find equal employment, perhaps, and they resort to crime and other sources of opportunity to create income for themselves. And I think that it's also got to do with the desperation of some of our citizens, that they are really in a state of desperation, that they turn to violent and non-violent crimes with regards to the robberies taking place. And we see that across the country. It's not necessarily only the KwaZulu-Natal and the Eastern Cape and even the Orlando area. I think the Eastern Cape and everywhere in the country, the state of the economic impact on the residents and the rising costs is definitely a strong driver behind these.
That's a very important point there, of course, Christopher. I mean, look, if you've been a victim of armed robbery or home invasion, I really sympathize with those people because I know the trauma that actually lingers long after the actions. I also know that police stations in some of these townships or villages or areas are either ill-resourced, ill-equipped, too far, or simply cannot react except by just giving you a case number. Christopher, has policing failed? If yes, how do we fix that?
I think it stems from something more than just policing fail. It stems from the resources allocated to the people that has to look after the most vulnerable and the general public. The resources allocated might have actually failed, where they actually understaffed, underfunded for equipment with regards to vehicles to be able to respond to these cases accurately and timeously. And also then I think it's changed from the employees we find in SABC isn't the standard that they once were. Some of them might just be there for the benefits and not really to make a difference. And I think that's what we need more of. We need more police officers that want to make a difference in the communities and really help the most vulnerable, because no one is more vulnerable than someone who's just been impacted by a robbery or an incident of aggression towards them.
And that is actually what I was about to say there, Christopher, because housebreaking was actually at the top of this year's crime stats. Yet we were told, even with that report, that perceptions of safety had improved slightly. And I'm quoting the direct words there. But I can assure you, Christopher, these are not the current public sentiments. Are we being deceived somehow then in the actual systematic failures or inadequacies of police? We are hearing of gross corruption among some police at the Madlanga, as well as ad hoc hearings. Reality is things are falling apart and there is no immediate plans or even measures in motion to effectively address the situation.
I think the Madlanga Commission comes at a very good time for the industry. I think it definitely makes us focus and talk about the difficult things in the industry with regards to the people that's supposed to support us. I think it creates the opportunity for us to voice our concern as private and public figures talk together and try to find the resolution or a avenue to find a common ground for the best solution for the most vulnerable and for the general public. I do also believe that people have given up having hope in, and as you mentioned in one of your previous questions with regards to finding a case number. So if you are affected by crime, I don't think anyone really still thinks that something's going to happen, so they don't report it. So it's definitely a sense of perhaps a false sense of acceptance that it is come down the amount of housebreakings or crime stats. I think it's people giving up hope in actually reporting these stats or reporting to build these stats. So we always encourage our clients if you see or hear something, you must say something. If you don't report crime, you can't get resourced through your police station, your local police station. If the stats are skewed towards another section or another neighborhood that's adjacent to yours, perhaps, that does report all these crimes, they might get a higher allocation of resources.
And a very interesting observation during the ad hoc committee there, Christopher. I'm not sure if you saw that. I mean, there was some sort of criticism around the flourishing of course, the private security industry, which, of course, you currently operate in. And they were saying that it is actually bleeding professionals from your army as well as police. But they actually understated the fact that we do need some of these parallel structures in order to assist the police, who are often ill-equipped or just caught off guard or are even corrupt themselves.
Yes, I think the community feels that if they make a direct payment or a contribution towards a private company, they feel that they have that support. So even if it isn't at any time needed, they feel that they have the backup for themselves and for their family to respond to a robbery at the house. If you're looking at a normal armed response solution, someone that can be there within 5 minutes to respond, even if it is just to take stock of if there is any emergency services required, and perhaps put pressure on them and dispatch these emergency services. So I think from our side as a private security companies, we definitely try and support the police in areas where they cannot, where they're under-resourced, and to assist them to perform some sort of service towards the residents.
It's a much needed collaboration there, Christopher. And is there any advice then to residents who could be potential sitting ducks as victims of such acts? How do you even respond to gun-wielding criminals within your house, Christopher?
I think it's similar to being in a situation of a hijacking where the tips always go in the region of, just work with the guys. Don't try and aggravate or agitate them. Try and get them to calm down, and yourself. I mean, if you can remain calm, they can get what they want and they can get out. Because the main thing in any robbery we advise people and train people on is to stay calm and make sure that no one gets injured in the process. Mm-hmm. So that's the main thing. If you do find yourself in these situations, just try and get out of it alive and hand over what you can. Because let's be honest, no money or no goods in your house is worth your life.
Christopher, very enlightening discussion there. We appreciate your time, sir. That is Mr. Christopher Thornhill, who's the CEO at the Phangela Group, as well as a crime and violence expert on the uptake of violent house robberies right across the country.